how a Miami Navy veteran honors Memorial Day. I'm Jalen Banks with more on the story.
Plus, how a local museum is paying tribute to veterans with a special exhibit, and
President Biden honoring America's fallen service members. I'm Jackie Heinrich at the White House with that story coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Ceremonies across the 4 states honor heroes on this Memorial Day. Thank you for joining us. I'm Dow Quick. We're going to show you several ways 4-staters recognize this day. We begin our coverage at the GAR Cemetery in Miami, Oklahoma. As Jalen Banks reports, the ceremony there was open to anyone to honor men and women who fought for our nation's freedom.
Solemn ceremonies like this one at Miami's GAR Cemetery are part of a long-standing American tradition. Memorial Day became an official federal holiday in 1971, but you can trace its origins all the way back to shortly thereafter the Civil War, where people have taken it upon themselves to honor our fallen soldiers. After years of war and 600,000 deaths later, in 1866, women in Columbus, Mississippi, laid flowers on the graves of both Union and Confederate soldiers. This, and many other practices like it, will lead to the holiday that we observe today. Eldon Johnston, a Navy veteran, speaks on what this day means to him and the community.
We come out and do this every year. It's just an honor to honor the fallen veterans, and it's just good to see the crowd turn out. As far as patriotism, this area is about as good as you can get.
The GAR Cemetery held a Memorial Day ceremony, giving community members the chance to honor and pay respects to those who gave their lives serving our country. The ceremony featured an honor guard, fire volleys, the playing of taps, and words from veterans.
The people out here that have fallen, you just can't honor them enough. I mean, they gave their life for our freedom. It's just, all you can say is just an honor.
At the GAR Cemetery in Miami, Oklahoma, honoring those that gave their lives to defend this country. Jalen Banks, KOAM News.
Each branch of the military was represented at that ceremony. Pittsburgh State University today honored veterans and their families with a virtual Memorial Day ceremony. The ceremony featured traditional elements, including recordings of a color guard comprised of cadets from PSU's ROTC program and recordings of the playing of taps and singing of the national anthem by PSU music students. The ceremony featured recorded remarks by Kirby Brown, the current dean of Park University's College of Management and a 40-year veteran of military and federal service.
It is to honor the over 1 million of our citizens who have given their life in service to our country. As we think about that ultimate sacrifice, I have found that Memorial Day is a very personal day for me also.
The Silver Star.
You can view the entire ceremony anytime at pittstate.tv. The Freedom of Flight Museum in Webb City paid tribute to veterans today with a new exhibit. The Honoring Our Veterans exhibit told stories about the veterans, places, and events related to all branches of the military. Visitors also had the opportunity to sit inside of a supersonic cockpit and handle aircraft equipment.
Memorial Day is a day that we all get together as a nation to remember those who have gone on before us, those who have served our nation and given their lives for the honor of the country.
Admission was free and the exhibit was open from noon to 6 p.m. A Kansas Vietnam veteran has walked dozens of miles in honor of the soldiers who died in that war. William Elston planned to walk more than 58,000 steps today from the city of Lawrence to Ottawa, Kansas. That's about a 10-hour walk. Elston says each step represents a U.S. service member who died in Vietnam. 58,220 soldiers died in that conflict. President Biden's Memorial Day tribute honored America's fallen service members, including his own son. Fox News correspondent Jackie Heinrich has more from the White House.
As the nation remembers those Americans who made the ultimate sacrifice, President Biden joined by Vice President Harris and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, marking a somber and solemn Memorial Day.
Present!
With a ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Arlington National Cemetery. President Biden laying a wreath honoring America's fallen service members.
Today, we renew our sacred vow. It's a simple vow. To remember. To remember.
The Commander-in-Chief specifically addressing the families of the more than 2,400 service members who lost their lives in Afghanistan, America's longest war. The president pulling troops from the country last summer.
I promise you the day will come when the memory of your loved one, your patriot, will bring a smile to your lip before it brings a tear to your eye.
He also looked to Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine, emphasizing the importance of defending democracy.
But their fight is part of a larger fight that unites all people.
The president also mourning alongside Gold Star families.
7 years ago today, our son, Major Beau Biden, took his last breath with Walter Reed.
Earlier in the day, the first couple attended Mass in Wilmington, Delaware. Then the president visited his late son Beau's grave, exactly 7 years after the 46-year-old Iraq War veteran died of brain cancer. Families of fallen service members are joining the president and first lady in a magnolia tree planting ceremony here on the grounds of the White House to further honor the fallen. At the White House, Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
Tracking some storms moving into parts of the area. Let's go to Doug Heddy.
Yeah, we are watching for scattered showers and thunderstorms to pick up in portions of the four-state area later on tonight, and then just about everybody has a chance as we go into Tuesday. Warm again, very windy all day long. 84, 81 is our average high, so right where we should be for this time of the year. We have had some clouds kind of sticking around. We're hoping these break up a little bit this evening, but you can see the thunderstorms in our northwestern counties. This line is kind of falling apart, and what should happen behind it is a secondary line. You can see it starting to pop up right here. Will pop up, and these will kind of affect a bit of our northern counties later on tonight. Temps stay warm. We're in the upper 70s right now. I think we're only going to drop back into the lower 70s for overnight lows. These southerly winds will actually keep our temperatures up a bit as we go through the overnight hours. Severe risk goes up tomorrow. We'll talk about it here in just a bit.
See you then. Authorities have discovered the body of a man in Elk River. Officials responded to reports last night of a man missing on Elk River south of Ginger Blue near Mount Shira access. 40-year-old Matthew Frazier was discovered this morning unresponsive. Frazier was pronounced dead shortly afterward. He was not wearing a life vest. Police are looking into possible hate crime charges following the killing of a black man in Wichita, Kansas. Roger Gail is facing first-degree murder and other charges for reportedly shooting Emmanuel Hardy Saturday night. And as Hannah King reports, one person who was with the victim at the time says it was all about Hardy's race.
We came from the Quick Trip. There was a truck there that was had American flag and a rebel flag on the side of it, and he was like kind of revving up his truck. So I didn't know why they said it was about a dog, because it was never about a dog. This was never about a dog. There's no dispute about a dog. This was completely racially motivated.
Tatiana Lene describes her Saturday night. She says she was with Emmanuel Hardy when their trip to the store turned deadly.
I had to go get my debit card from my house. So we're at my house for about maybe 10 or 15 minutes. When we leave my house, we take this route around, and this Suburban starts following us, like tailgating my car real hard, like running up on my car. So we pull in this parking lot, and naturally we're gonna be like, what's up, what's going on? And he said, F these N-words, and just start shooting at us. That was it. And you don't know this Never seen this man a day in my life.
The racial slur leaving her to believe this was about the color of her and the victim's skin. Tatiana says she was shot at first, and it was Mr. Hardy, the victim, who saved her life.
Mr. Hardy told me to get out the way, and he put his hands up and was like, no, don't shoot me. And the guy was shooting at him several times.
Just before 10 p.m. Saturday night, Wichita police responded to a shots fired call near East Harry. Neighbors say it all happened so fast.
We thought it was firecrackers. It really sounded like firecrackers. It didn't sound like no gun.
But it was, and those shots.
He was transported to a local hospital where he'd been treated and was triaged deceased.
Cost Hardy his life.
This was straight hate. This was hate. And they got to understand that happens here. And that's what that man did. He shot Mr. Hardy down in cold blood. He did that.
Tatiana says the man charged with the crimes must have touched her car. You can see his prints as police worked the scene. It's a scene she never thought she would be a part of.
It was just a run to the gas station. A quick run to the gas station, and it ended up being a fight for life, and somebody lost.
Wichita police say the investigation is still underway and the results are going to be handed over to prosecutors. As we do every day, we take a moment on this Memorial Day to honor a local veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces. John Montgomery served in the U.S. Army in 1917 and 1918. His hometown, Galena, Kansas. And we salute Private John Montgomery, a four-state hero. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast. Later, Danny Terzer has a preview of the Joplin Outlaws home opener against the Nevada Griffins.
Uncle Cracker Live.
Well, it turned out to be another warm and windy day for us today. All weekend long, we've had really pretty good weather for the holiday weekend. Temperatures for us today did go into lower 80s during the afternoon, which, hey, we'll definitely take. But it looks like thunderstorm chances will increase, especially tomorrow night. And then heading into Wednesday, temperatures still pretty good. Most of us are sitting upper 70s. We're not going to drop off much tonight due to the southerly winds kind of keeping those temperatures up. We've had those south winds kind of 10 to 20 over the past couple hours, backing down just a little bit. 7th and range line currently outside sitting at 79, south winds at 11. Humidity is at 64%, pressure 29.72 inches of mercury and steady. We've had some clouds rotating through. There is a meteor shower later on tonight, so we hope those clouds will break up a little bit. You can see the thunderstorms, big storms earlier just to the east of Wichita. This line has gotten far enough away from the front that it's losing its energy, but a couple little tiny guys may skirt into our northwestern counties. So what's going to happen now is back on the west side where the front is, we're going to get a pretty good line of showers and thunderstorms. You can already see it developing to the east of Concordia, and then these will kind of sag south and east through the overnight hours. Some of those may get into our northern counties a little bit later on tonight, but most of us are going to stay dry with most of the severe weather staying out to our north and to our west. A little higher threat for severe weather for a bigger chunk of us tomorrow afternoon, at least an elevated threat on the Kansas side. I think these storms as they work in will weaken, so that's why dropping the severe threat as it goes off toward the south and to the east. Kind of picking up after 4 p.m. until 3 a.m. tornado threat low, hail, wind, and rain. We'll have to elevate those threats. All right, let's go through time. Tonight, storms trying to skirt our northern counties. Most of us fine. I do think we'll get some clear skies in here a little bit later on tonight, which is good. By morning, thunderstorms, northwestern counties, kind of skirting our northern counties, most of us dry. A lot of clouds tomorrow, kind of warm, kind of windy. We warm back up, very similar to today, mid-80s. 71 to start, 82 by noon, 86 by 5, south winds, breezy again, 15 to 25. As we go into the evening hours, scattered thunderstorms, southeastern Kansas back to north central Oklahoma. The ones that can get going could go strong to severe. You can still see most of the metros fine here, 7:30 p.m. So the greater severe threat stays on the Kansas side. Eventually, these get into southwestern Missouri late evening into the overnight hours, but I do think the weekend, but we'll still watch it for tomorrow evening. Scattered thunderstorms into Wednesday morning. We'll see a batch rotating through. I think we'll get a break. We'll get another batch in here midday. So we got numerous rounds of thunderstorms as we go through the next couple days. So we could pick up some pretty decent rainfall amounts. We'll make it an alert day for that severe threat, especially on the Kansas side tomorrow. 86, 74, Wednesday 73, Thursday. Some thunderstorms could sneak back in late Friday into the weekend, but overall is looking pretty good.
Well, that's good, I suppose. Don't need any more rain, though.
No, we really don't.
Thanks, Ted. Here's a look at our tower camera sponsored by R.A. Smith Construction as work continues on the KOIM More Power project You can check it out anytime on our website, koamnewsnow.com/power. Next, funerals begin this week for the victims of the Uvalde, Texas shooting. We're going to have the latest.
Johnson, Voorhees, Martucci.
This is a Memorial Day unlike any other in Uvalde, Texas. The community is mourning the victims of last week's school shooting, and the funerals start this week. All of this along with growing outrage over what appears to be a bungled response by the local law enforcement. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul has the latest from Uvalde.
In a city of 16,000 people, losing just one is hard enough.
It's devastating because they were almost done with school and they were barely starting their life.
But the loss of 19 young minds and 2 women who helped shape them creates a gap that'll never be filled.
It's painful because from day one, we make flowers for them when the child is born. We make flowers for their first birthday. It hurts right now, everybody.
On this Memorial Day, Texas Governor Greg Abbott wants the focus to also be on Uvalde.
As Texans, we must come together and lift up Uvalde and support them in every way that we possibly can.
It's a call to action that greeted Governor Abbott while he joined President Joe Biden during his visit on Sunday. President Biden vowing, I will, to a community devastated and desperate for change.
I grew up here in Uvalde, and it breaks my heart. I have no words.
Silence from Uvalde's police department, whose response that day, along with the school district police and other responding law enforcement, will get a formal critical incident review by the Department of Justice. One of the most glaring revelations, nearly 20 officers stood in the hallway of the school for more than 45 minutes before getting inside to kill the shooter. Democratic Texas State Senator Roland Gutierrez, like many in Uvalde, was stunned to learn children were inside the room with the shooter, some in the school even calling 911, begging for police to help.
One round for this little girl, likely bled out. Had we had law enforcement going in there earlier, this little girl might have lived.
It's already hard enough for students at Robb Elementary School to fathom going back to school, let alone into the exact buildings where the shooting unraveled. So lawmakers are already talking about knocking down the school and building a new one. In Uvalde, Texas, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
President Biden is continuing to push for new gun control measures, but denying that he has the authority to take unilateral action. That's not sitting well with some of his usual supporters. Fox News White House correspondent Jackie Heinrich has the latest.
President Biden remembering Americans who made the ultimate sacrifice in what he called a sacred Memorial Day ritual.
We must never betray the lives laid down to make our nation a beacon to the world, a citadel of liberty and justice for everyone.
Biden marked the importance of defending democracy amid Russia's war in Ukraine. Also mourned alongside Gold Star families on the anniversary of his son Beau's death, a veteran who died of brain cancer. Biden addressed the families of the 2,461 service members who lost their lives in Afghanistan, but made no specific mention of the 13 who died under his watch during the withdrawal, the only armed forces to die by enemy attack since he took office. The solemn ceremonies coming just one day after Biden privately grieved with a shattered community in Uvalde, Texas, telling reporters upon his return there's some hope for a bipartisan gun control agreement in Congress, encouraged by a push from Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell to Texas Senator John Cornyn to find common ground with Democrats.
Gotten so bad that everybody's getting more rational about it. But I think there's a realization on the part of rational Republicans, and I consider McConnell a rational Republican, and Cornyn is as well. You can't do this.
The administration increasingly defensive over pressure for Biden to act unilaterally, refusing some network requests for officials to appear on Sunday shows, saying it's on Congress to act. Biden said today his executive powers have limits.
But I can't outlaw a weapon. I can't change the background check. I can't do that.
Some congressional Democrats have hope for a budding agreement.
There are more Republicans interested in talking about finding a path forward this time than I have ever seen since Sandy Hook.
Not all share the optimism.
As far as a federal level, I'm not that hopeful.
Senator John Cornyn, the lead GOP negotiator on the gun safety reform effort, told reporters today in Texas a group of bipartisan senators is meeting tomorrow over Zoom to see if they can reach a framework on how to move forward. But he offered no details on what they'd be discussing, like red flag laws or otherwise. At the White House, Jackie Heinrich, Fox News.
Coming up, Ukraine makes a request to the West. We'll have details.
Welcome to Fantasy Island. Season for house.
President Biden says he's not going to send long-range rocket systems to Ukraine. This comes as Ukraine's leader urges the West for more and better weapons while Russia steps up its onslaught on the country's east. Fox News correspondent Trey Yingst has more from Kyiv.
Russian troops fire artillery in the central Donbas region. They're advancing on strategic cities across eastern Ukraine.
The active phase of the Great Liberation War continues. Russian occupation forces are not stopping offensive operations in the eastern operational zone to establish complete control over Donetsk and Luhansk oblasts.
Russian troops have now entered the city of Severodonetsk, where 90% of the buildings are destroyed, according to the Ukrainians. Thousands of civilians do remain trapped amid the fighting, sheltering underground. Yesterday, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky made his first visit to the east since the war began. Touring the front lines near the city of Kharkiv, Zelensky met with soldiers, pledging to liberate all occupied territory.
1/3 of the Kharkiv region is still under occupation. We will definitely vacate the whole territory, and everyone should work for this result in positions at both the local and state levels.
To push Russian troops out of eastern Ukraine, Zelensky's troops say they'll need more additional artillery support and advanced weapons. The U.S. had been expected to send MLRS long-range rocket launchers to Ukraine, but could walk back that reported commitment.
We're not going to send to Ukraine rocket systems that can strike into Russia.
Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba also stressed the need for more weapons today, alongside the French Foreign Minister, who was visiting Kyiv.
To win the battle for the Donbass, we need to significantly strengthen our artillery potential.
New tonight, EU leaders have agreed on a partial embargo of Russian oil. That, according to diplomats, the move is the most significant action against Russian oil exports since the war began. In Kyiv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Next, a house gets a visit from a furry friend.
Tell me this is on sale.
A mountain lion is spotted walking through a residential neighborhood in California. There it is. A homeowner's Ring camera catches the big cat out for an early stroll. This happened yesterday morning. The mountain lion walked right through the home's front lawn, across the driveway. Animal experts say the creature was probably on the hunt for breakfast. The cat reportedly roamed the neighborhood for a little while before heading back into the wild. It's farewell for a legendary staff member at a bookstore in Shaker Heights, Ohio. It's a different kind of cat, not a mountain lion. Otis the cat has been an employee at Loganberry Books for 14 years. He first started working in 2008 and could be seen around the shop almost every day since then. The bookstore held a retirement party for him so they could get one last picture and say goodbye to him to kind of see him off. 30 more minutes of news and weather coming your way. A Joplin faith-based organization kicked off summer today with a sizzle. We'll have details. Plus,
a care center in McDonald County is getting a makeover. I'm Kate Kelly with the story coming up.
We're here to help. We are the 4 states.
when it comes to child care, not everyone can afford the centers that come with all the bells and whistles. But a grant-funded program under the Alliance of Southwest Missouri is leveling out the playing field. KOAM's Kate Kelly tells us more about the Infant Toddler Specialist Network and how it's making a difference for one-day care in McDonald County.
For Jennifer Harris, this daycare is more than just a place to work. It's home.
This was a daycare that was started by my grandmother 37 years ago. And I have been here for about 25 years, really. I started working here as a young teen, and I have been here ever since.
After all those years of wear and tear and play, this center is getting some much-needed TLC thanks to the Alliance's grant-funded Infant Toddler Specialist Network Program, or ITSN.
We're not a regulatory program. We're not coming in as licensing to look at the facility. We're just here to enhance, provide trainings, and we really work, I feel, very closely with the directors and the providers to see what needs they really want and need to enhance the programs that they are doing excellent work in already.
ITSN is only a few years old, but the idea is to recruit centers in need of resources or technical assistance. The program currently serves 10 counties with hopes to expand.
We are trying to increase the quality of care within these centers because of their state subsidized payments. We're trying to level the playing field between state subsidized programs and private funded programs.
Whether it's timely education for staff on site or enriching toys for kids in a sensory room, ITSN is making a difference in the lives of children in Southwest Missouri.
It makes your day, like there's nothing better.
And I don't think they could stay with anything for more than 2 minutes because they were just on to the next thing, and they just really enjoyed it because we needed some new stuff around here.
In Knoll, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
If you're interested in more information about the ITSN, you can check out this article on our website, koamnewsnow.com. And you should know Kate Kelly is also employed by the Alliance of Southwest Missouri. Neighborhood Lifehouse in Joplin kicked off summer with their second annual Summer Sizzle Block Party. Burgers and hot dogs were provided, but it was also encouraged to bring your own food and drinks to share. A 50-50 raffle was also held to go with music and games.
So we call it Summer Sizzle. It's our second time to do this in the North Heights neighborhood, and it's just our group's getting people together from the neighborhood to have a party.
There were kids' activities as well, and to cap off the day, they had an epic water balloon war. Neighborhood Lifehouse is a faith-based organization that provides after-school programs and community outreach. After 2 years of pandemic pauses on mass holiday travel, millions of Americans are making up for it this Memorial Day. This comes despite a COVID resurgence in some areas and record-high gasoline prices nationwide. Fox News correspondent Christina Coleman has more from Los Angeles.
After 2 years of COVID uncertainty, amusement parks and beaches nationwide are open without restrictions, and folks are taking advantage to kick off the unofficial start of summer. AAA estimates that 34.9 million people will have traveled by car this holiday weekend. That's up 4.6% compared to last year, despite record high gas prices. The national average for a gallon of gas hit $4.61 on Monday, the highest it's ever been. It was $3.04 a year ago. Airfare is also more expensive. A round-trip domestic ticket is averaging about $400, according to travel research site Hopper. That's up 24% compared to this time in 2019. The price hikes are thanks to higher jet fuel costs, double the regular summertime rates, and more post-pandemic demand. Travelers say the increased costs are frustrating, but something they're willing to bear to take long-awaited family trips.
Whatever the gas price is, unfortunately we have to pay for it, but we want to go visit our family, so this is the cost that's involved.
More than 6,000 flights were canceled this weekend, with thousands more delayed. Delta, which canceled the most flights among U.S. carriers, said bad weather in the Northeast on Friday caused a ripple effect that threw off the flight schedule all weekend long. Experts are advising travelers to pack their patience this summer.
Unfortunately, travel disruptions are still happening because of just this resurgence in travel. The travel industry is working as hard as it can to make things smooth for passengers and for travelers. We just remind everybody to have patience when you're at the airport.
The U.S. Travel Association says 6 in 10 Americans still plan on taking at least one summer trip despite rising costs. Reporting in Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox News.
A little later, some guide dogs get the chance to be trained in a whole new environment.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another warm/hot day for us today. The humidity on the high side, very windy, temperatures into the upper 80s yesterday, mid 80s for us today, and it's going to stay fairly warm once again as we go into the daytime hours on Tuesday. Look at our temps right now. We're sitting upper 70s to near 80 right now. We're only going to drop back into lower 70s later on tonight as our southerly winds will keep our temperatures up. Diminish just a bit, but still south winds 10 to 20 throughout the overnight hours. 79 south at 11. Humidity is at 64%. We've been watching storms out to our northwest. Most of us are not affected by this and won't be affected as we go through the overnight hours for us tonight. We've had a dying band of thunderstorms as they kind of skirt our northwestern counties, so not a big deal there. And then thunderstorms will continue to redevelop back across north central Kansas, and some of these may sag into our northern counties later on tonight, but I really think overall most of us are pretty quiet for us tonight, which is good, but that's going to change tomorrow. At least an elevated risk on the Kansas side, but as storms work south and east, they will start to diminish. So that's why severe threat is lower for the metro than it is on the Kansas side. This is for tomorrow evening. Tomorrow night, 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. tornado threat low, but will elevate hail, wind, and rain as we're going to get some pretty good rainfall amounts. Let's step through time tonight. Most of the storms stay northwest of the region. They could clip our northern counties by morning. Here 6, 7, 8, 9. Most of us dry. A lot of clouds. Warm up. Mid 80s once again. Most of the day is going to be perfectly fine. Here's your day planner. 71 to start, 82 by noon. High temp of 86. As we work into the evening hours, scattered thunderstorms start to get going. Southeastern Kansas. Whatever does get going, some of those could be strong, possibly severe. Again, Pittsburgh, Joplin, Metro, not much going on all the way through the evening hours, and then finally a batch of storms gets in for most of us late evening into the overnight hours. We'll see periods of showers and thunderstorms into Wednesday morning, most likely a little bit of a break. We'll get another batch that rotates through midday Wednesday. I do not expect these to be severe. They could be stronger, but I don't expect them to be severe. Then we'll get another batch that rolls in Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Then finally, we get a chance to dry out. So our main severe threat is tomorrow night. Then just a lot of rain. A lot of us, on average, 1 to 3 inches of rain that we could pick up from this next storm system that is going to rotate in over the next 2 to 2.5 days. 86 tomorrow. I don't think anybody, or let me rephrase, I don't think most of us will see any rain until tomorrow night. Northern counties, a little bit late tonight into the morning, and then picking up by evening. 74 Wednesday, periods of thunderstorms. Thursday looks okay, and then hit and miss storms reintroduced in the forecast late Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
I hope there's more miss than hit.
Yeah,
during those storms.
Miss would be great.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, Danny Terzer brings us a preview of the upcoming game between the Joplin Outlaws and the Nevada Griffins.
Nominate your four-star.
Time for summer baseball at Joe Becker Stadium. The Joplin Outlaws open up their season at home in just a few days. Sports reporter Danny Terzer has that story.
The Joplin Outlaws are days away from their season opener. Today, the team met for the very first time.
These guys are going to really see that the city of Joplin does a great job of supporting the program. So it's important for us to be able to put a good product out on the field for these fans and for the city of Joplin.
Pitt State assistant Gonzalo Gonzalez takes over as head coach of the Outlaws.
For me, I think it's just having these guys stay loose, right? At the end of the day, it's about these guys coming here, developing and getting better and hopefully winning some baseball games in the process. Everybody knows that if you're able to play loose and play in a little bit more of a fun atmosphere, you get a better player in the end.
Gonzalez is joined by two of his former players, recent PSU grads Austin Bonnell and Caleb Carr.
I really think both those guys have great baseball minds or else they wouldn't be here, and they do have a really good knack for building relationships with players, so that was a big reason why I wanted them on this summer.
This year's roster is filled with talent from across the country, from as far as Hawaii to right here in the 4 states.
It's a big honor to be able to come out here and play in my hometown, have the people that supported me through high school come out and watch me again. It should be a good time, and I'm glad to be here.
Yesterday we came here and visited the stadium, and it's really nice. I haven't really played at a college stadium like this, and Back home, we don't really have fields like this, so it's a really good experience.
Now it's full speed ahead.
These next couple of days of practice are really about is these guys getting to know one another, how each other plays, and hopefully build some team camaraderie, and we can really see what kind of product we can put out there.
In Joplin, Danny Terzer, KOAM Sports.
The Outlaws host the Nevada Griffins for their season opener this Thursday, 7 p.m. Back with more news after this. Guide dogs in training face one of their next challenges, the airport. Fox's Tony Almanza meets up with some puppy raisers and guide dog puppies at an airport in California to learn more.
Golden Retrievers and Labrador puppies were trained to serve as guide dogs in the San Luis Obispo airport.
So Guide Dogs for the Blind is all, puppy raisers are all about taking the dogs to new places, getting them exposed to different sights and sounds. A lot of time the first outing a dog goes on with its new handler once it's graduated is to the airport to fly home. And so some puppies have never been to the airport before, and there's a lot of new sights and sounds fitting on the plane in that small area. So we want to get them comfortable with all of this so that when they do graduate and go on to fly on a plane with their handler, they have been to it before, they're not nervous, they know what's up, and they can do their job effectively.
Puppy raisers put a lot of work in training their puppy.
So we get them around 8 weeks, so 2 months old. They stay with puppy raisers, which is what I am and the other people here are. We raise and socialize and house break them and whatnot, and we do that until they're about 15 to 18 months of age. At that point, they'll get recalled to the campus for Guide Dogs for the Blind.
Once the puppy is fully trained, they can be a big help to airlines.
It's an amazing aspect where a dog can basically help somebody, that wouldn't normally be able to travel. I mean, we are more than, we'll come out and help the guests as we can. Guide dogs, they don't need that extra person to help them out, and they're basically helping us out a ton by getting the passengers to where they need to go.
In San Luis Obispo, I'm News Channel reporter Tony Almanza.
Could be treated to a beautiful sight in the sky tonight, weather permitting. We're going to tell you exactly when you might get to see it next. People all across North America could see a dazzling display in the heavens tonight. Earth is expected to pass through the debris trail of a broken comet tonight and into Tuesday. NASA says the best time to check it out is going to be right around midnight our time. The space agency says the meteor shower was first discovered in 1930, but scientists say it's been breaking apart for decades, so there's an outside chance you won't see much. We do hope the clouds will clear enough that we will have at least that chance. And that is our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of the National Memorial Day Parade in Washington, D.C. Be safe out there, and let's make it a great tomorrow.